tonight. We do have speaker cards in the middle, in the back on the table there. If you care to speak during public comments or address an issue, if you would fill out one of those speaker cards and pass it to one of the ladies here, Miss Sarah and Miss Kayla, we'll make sure that we hear you speak and hear your words for tonight. So, if you have a cell phone or a noise-making device, if you would silence that monster so it doesn't interrupt the meeting and we can keep focused on everything else that we need to do here today, we'd appreciate it. I've asked the Chief, Don Blanton, to come up and lead us in prayer and the pledge. So if y'all will all join us for that, we'll start this with a prayer.
Good evening. I do want to say that, in the last several months, y'all have had some bright young men come up here and different pastors and different people, and I appreciate this. I really do. Yes, sir. Y'all just bow your head. Lord, we come to you tonight, and we thank you for everything you give us, and we're very, very appreciative of the fact that you take care of us constantly, and sometimes we take things for granted, but we ask you to put your hand on this county. Give us wisdom, take care of us, keep our folks safe, help these commissioners to make wise decisions, help everybody here tonight to take care of the business they need to and do it in a way that honors you. And we thank you for loving us and providing for us, and we pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know.
Thank you,
Don't
Chief.
leave us up here anymore.
First up is approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as stated. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Moving on to elected officials. Ms. Stacy?
I'll go and then
Okay.
Hi, Commissioners. The item I have before you is to establish the maximum proposed millage rate for the fiscal year 2027. The rate approved today will be the proposed maximum rate. The board will consider a tentative rate and a tentative budget on September 1st, and then the final millage rate and the final budget at the final budget hearing on September 15th. The rate may be reduced as the budget is refined, but establishing an adequate maximum today preserves the board's flexibility. The proposed maximum rate will be used to prepare the truth in millage or TRIM notices. These notices are mailed to property owners by the property appraiser and show the property's assessed and taxable values, the proposed millage rates from each taxing authority, and estimated property taxes based on those rates, and the dates and locations of the public budget hearings. The TRIM notice is not a tax bill. It is an estimate that allows property owners to see how the proposed rates may affect their taxes and gives them an opportunity to attend the public hearings before the final rates and budgets are adopted. At this point in the budget process, the proposed budget is still preliminary. There are several state estimated revenues that have not been published yet by the state, so I do not have final revenue estimates for every line item. The revenues are expected sometime in August. For now, to estimate those revenues, I use historical collections, current year activity, and projection formulas. Those estimates may change once the final state revenue estimates are released. The rolled back rate is 7.1588 mils, compared with last year's adopted millage rate of 7.2916 mils. The rolled back rate is the rate that would generate approximately the same property tax revenue as the prior year after accounting for changes in property values and excluding new construction. Adopting the rolled back rate would generally avoid a tax increase caused solely by rising property values. Keeping last year's rate of 7.2916 mils would generate additional property tax revenue because the county's taxable value has increased, even though the millage rate itself would not increase. Establishing this maximum does not mean the board is adopting a final millage rate today. If it It establishes the maximum rate to be reflected on the trim notices and preserves the board's flexibility while the budget is finalized. As updated state revenue estimates and other information become available, I will revise the budget and present those changes to the board. The board may reduce the millage rate during the tentative or final budget hearing process. Last year, the county ultimately collected 88% of the total ad valorem taxes levied. After accounting for early payment discounts, the tax collectors approximately 2% commission, delinquent taxes, and other collection adjustments. For the proposed fiscal year 27 budget, I have already calculated projected ad valorem revenue at 95% of the certified taxable value, as required for budgeting purposes. In addition, the county's budget includes a separate less 5% deduction on projected revenues as an added safeguard against revenues coming in below projections. Historically, the county divides its ad valorem revenue between the general fund and the fines and forfeitures fund, which is the fund used to pay the sheriff's budget. Based on the current proposed budget, if the millage rate remains unchanged from last year, approximately 100% of the projected ad valorem revenue would need to be transferred into the fine and forfeitures fund, and the general fund would need to transfer an additional approximately $1.9 million into that fund to balance it. The county uses a pooled cash system, meaning all funds share one bank account. As a result, individual funds can temporarily operate with negative cash balances during the year. When a fund does not generate enough revenue to cover its expenses, the general fund must provide a transfer to eliminate that deficit and bring that fund back into balance. In addition to the approximately $1.9 million transfer to the fines and forfeitures fund, the general fund would also need to transfer about $6 million into other funds, including solid waste, road and bridge, and the fire department. I'm currently projecting a fiscal year 2027 beginning fund balance of approximately $18 million in the general fund. This projection is consistent with the fund balance information presented to the board when I presented my budget amendments back in April. Since that presentation and as of today, the county has had $4.7 million more expenses than revenues in fiscal year 2026, which contributes to that drop in the general fund balance. The sheriff's requested budget is approximately $14 million for fiscal year 27, but that amount does not include the approximately $365,000 in additional expenses projected for inmate medical expenses and the projected medical examiner expenses. Once those additional costs are included, the total law enforcement and related public safety funding requirement is approximately $14.5 million. That $14.5 million represents approximately 78% of the general fund's projected 2027 beginning fund balance of $18.6 million. This comparison illustrates the size of the request relative to the county's available general fund reserves. This does not mean that the sheriff's budget will be paid entirely out of the general fund's balance, but it paints a better picture of the size of this request. Once again, I want to reiterate that no projections are final at this point, but with the projections that I currently have, this would drop our general fund balance to approximately $10 million. These figures demonstrate why the proposed maximum millage rate must provide enough flexibility for the board to continue evaluating the budget before the tentative and final rates are adopted. Under the state's maximum millage calculation, the rolled back rate of 7.1588 may be approved by a majority vote or 3 out of 5 commissioners, maintaining last year's rate of 7.2916, or approving any rate above the rolled back rate but no higher than 7.8747 mils, requires a 2/3 vote, which is 4 out of 5 commissioners. A rate above 7.8747 mils would require a unanimous vote, 5 out of 5 commissioners. And with that, I will let you all ask any questions you may have of me or vote on your proposed millage rate.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Would it be possible to have not right now obviously, but to receive a written copy of what you just read, Brooklyn?
Of course.
Maybe I'm the only one, but you threw out a bunch of percentages and a bunch of numbers.
You can have this copy.
I tried to write as many as I could
you
and it
want.
wasn't happening.
Here you go.
We can make a copy so that we can include them as part of the minutes.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there
And
needs to
then-
be some action from the board to adopt the maximum millage rate. So there needs to be a motion at whatever rate you deem appropriate. As explained, just understand that whatever rate is set as the maximum millage. It's not impossible, but very difficult to go above that rate later on. So you can always go down, but in order to go up, you'd have to resend out the equivalent of a trim notice to every resident again.
And the rate right now is
7.2.
7.29.
7.2916.
Mhm.
I really appreciate what you just said.
Thank you.
I agree with Mr. Harrison. There's a lot, real quick.
Sorry.
You talk faster than I.
There's nothing to
I'm sorry.
apologize. You did a
That
great
was
job.
faster.
No, you did
Yeah,
a great
that's
job.
fast.
Great
Nothing.
job. You could tell that you were well rehearsed and you done put a lot of work and time and effort into it. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
But I'm gonna probably give the same speech that I give about every year this time. Everybody in this room has to live within the means of the money that they have. And every citizen in this county has to live within the means of the money that they have. So I'm going to encourage this commission to keep the same millage rate that we have. And continue on living within the means, just like everyone else in the county has to live within the means, which might mean making cuts to individual budgets through our budget process. But there's no way in the world I'm going to support any kind of a millage increase above what we already have.
And the good thing is, it will still increase property tax. We'll still get more revenue than
A little
last year
bit, but
because
not-
of the increased property value, so.
But that's minuscule to raising people's.
Yes.
Was that your motion? Or are you making
Well, I
a
was opening
motion?
for the discussion.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that any other commissioner want to say something.
I think I agree with you.
That's in the form of a motion to keep the same millage rate to 7.2916.
And I second that.
We have a motion and a second to keep the millage rate at 7.2, or set the maximum millage rate at 7.2916. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks for my cheat sheet,
All
too.
opposed? None? Yes, so it's unanimous.
Well, it's that time again, so it's time for us to nominate members of the Value Adjustment Board. I did send an email out to you guys on July the 24th, letting you know the dates ahead of time. Our organizational meeting has been set for September the 1st at 10 o'clock. The primary meeting will be on October the 9th, also at 10 o'clock, and an alternative will be on October the 26th at 10 o'clock. These dates have been set between our attorney and the property appraiser's attorney as well. So at this time, I just need to have 2 members of the Board of County Commissioners to be part of that board. September the 1st will be the organizational meeting, and then the first primary meeting will be on October the 9th. Yes,
And then the second one is the 26th.
October 26th.
Which is where I had time.
I don't mind volunteering.
We have one. Do I need to be the second volunteer?
I will not be in the country on October 26th.
I'll be the second volunteer.
Hey, Tyler's not here. We could just volunteer him for everything tonight.
That's
Tyler
up to
said he
you
would be
guys.
there.
You have to deal with him, not me. So, if you would like to volunteer, that would be great. You're and whoever the other member is required to make this process go forward. So, like I said, we have to have a quorum in order to make to finish up our tax process. So, it will be great if you're able to come, and we truly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there.
So, Mr. Blake Iverson and Mr. Ronald Mann, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Two.
One of y'all will have the chair. One of y'all will have the chair.
We'll work it out. Mr. Sweat, do you have any comments? Okay. Moving on. Representative Chuck Brandon.
Stood back in the back, my knee got stiff. Hard to move. Well, I'm back as I am every year. And I guess this year for the final time to bring you a few little prizes this year. We were very fortunate again, Senator Bradley and I, with our projects. I think we only had some scuttlebutt on Facebook about how much we had vetoed, but we only had $4 million vetoed out of about three. We were at 352 million, and after vetoes, we were at 348 million. So that's about an average year for us. Of course, you got to realize representing 5 counties and doing things for places like the University of Florida, where we're trying to build a big new dental school. I think last year we got them 47.5 million. This year we got them 40 more million. These school projects like we had for Lake Butler last year, and have been a little bit successful here in Baker as far as going towards a new middle school. Lake Butler got 29 million last year. This year, both of those counties only got about 2 million, but they're still in the running. They're not knocked off the chart, and they'll eventually get those facilities. State still says the money's going to turn down. The budget was down this year. I think it was 115 billion or so. But anyway, of course, as I drove up here, I passed the ball fields. I see there's some more construction going on in the ball fields. That's always good to see. And then I rode by the round back. I come out of Zaxby's and I'm trying to get to the red light. I went around behind Winn-Dixie, or what was Winn-Dixie, and I always see that Council on Aging building. But there's lots of things. I mean, I could go down memory lane. Y'all know what they are. There's a $42 million elementary school sitting out there. Chief Blanton called me the other day. So, I mean, I think he's got fire trucks galore and fire stations galore. Somebody called me the other night and said, hey, they had a big fire there at the RV park, and the fire truck didn't have very far to go because that brand new fire station, that brand new 2-story fire station in Glen St. Mary. Of course, the city, has their new fire truck. Are you close to getting that first one?
We're going to have a dedication ceremony next week.
Oh, good. Good deal. Good deal. And of course, I think last year we came back with $900,000 for another one. This year, highly unusual, for the first time ever, I think, we have an appropriation for you, a new rescue unit. Chief said not only enough to buy it, but enough to outfit it. I guess that means stretchers and oxygen tanks and everything that goes along with that. And of course, with Sarah, for the last couple of years, and the clerk, we were trying to do something about that leaking courthouse roof. So 2 years ago, we got you $900,000, so we're back this year with another $900,000. Ain't it amazing? We thought 900 would do it. As you get into the nuts and bolts of it, 900 won't probably do but half of it. So we covered you there. So Baker County had no vetoes this year. I don't think that's ever happened as far as what we got through the budget. You had absolutely, the governor didn't veto anything for Baker County. I see that big Caterpillar generator sitting out there, $250,000. That was another good one for y'all. So that's probably 900 and 900, and then another 250,000. That's a lot of money into that courthouse, which I hope that money goes a long way, and maybe can fix those ceilings and paint and make things look better. Because the courthouse is the center of your community and should be a point of pride for everybody. So I was looking back, and Sarah tried to help us, and it was a lot more bigger task than we thought, wasn't it? So between Sarah and May, Jason, and the Department of Revenue, it looks like Baker pays between state sales tax and gas tax and dock stamps on real estate transactions since I've been in office, probably anywhere between $8 and $10 million a year. So if you say, well, I've been in office 10 years, just go with the high end. Say we paid $10 million a year in taxes. If you go on the high end, we added up everything we brought back. So we brought back, Baker County taxpayers to the state have paid in roughly $80 million, and you've gotten back $180 million. So if I could go down to the bank every month with $8 and hand it to them, at the end of the month I got 18 back, I'd do that every month. If I was a really rich fella and I could go down there with 80 million, and at the end of the year they'd hand me 180 million, I'd take that deal every day. So that's where this kind of thing comes in, because obviously whatever we bring to you, whether it's a courthouse roof or a new fire truck or a new rescue unit, all of us don't have to pay it, and that helps you right now when you're in your budget time. So that check this year is for new rescue unit, $450,000, and $900 more between your courthouse roof, towards your courthouse roof. That would total $1,350,000. A lot of legislators, Senator Bradley and I laughed a long time ago, said, shoot, you can do those dry erase things and just erase it every year. And I'm like, no, we're going to buy it. We're going to buy you a check. So I don't know what y'all have done with them over the years, but you should have 8 of them there. So hang this one with the rest of them. But we're proud to do that. Senator Bradley and I both our names are on here to do this work for y'all. That's what we're elected for. And I laughed. I was out in the parking lot. I said, maybe I'll come back next year. And during the citizen comment, I'll come up here and I'll say, Chuck Brandon, 10654 Hillside Drive. What your legislator did for you this year? 'Cause I want to see what they've done. But we're proud of what we're doing, and we'll if y'all are ready or have some comments, we'll listen to those, and then we'll take a picture.
We're proud of what you've done too.
Thank you.
Not just the time that you've been, but specifically this year. The courthouse has been in disrepair. We've been working toward getting it fixed, and this funding, we couldn't do it on our own. So we're very pleased with that. You've worked with us as county commissioners and as county government to achieve goals that we couldn't do on our own. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're glad that you're a home fella for
what?
Baker County.
Oh,
A home fella
thank you.
that
Thank you.
represents Baker County. We hadn't had that, and that's been a wonderful and a long
Can I
time.
jump in here because I'll forget because I'm simple-minded. That reminds me, the talking about home fella. The sign has been installed across the street from the courthouse. It's covered in black. Remember we named the road for Circuit Judge and
Yeah.
former State Representative John J. Cruz Jr. So we were going to try to do a ceremony this month to unveil that and have a little something. But Judge Cruz's daughter Debbie in Jacksonville heard her back. So she asked that we put it off for maybe a month. So maybe we're looking to September maybe to do that. But you see that new sign over there covered in black plastics. That's what that is. So yeah, first one in 50 years since Judge Cruz.
Right.
So that means a lot. Thank you, Mark. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine, I'm just.
Because I'd forgot that if I let
Echo
you talk.
what Commissioner Hartley said, that's the importance of having local people in office,
Yep.
in the state positions. They're easy to talk to, and they love Baker County as much as we love Baker County. So, I appreciate what you've done, because I've been over there watching your work, you and Senator Bradley, and what you've done for Baker County is amazing. And the contacts that you've had, the people that you've dealt with, Chuck could walk in there and they would listen. And that's not, everybody's not like that over there. So I appreciate it as a commissioner that's pretty well stayed over there helping, over in Tallahassee. Chuck said, Jimmy, we got to go.
And we forgot about, we didn't mention saving the state hospital a couple of years ago again. That'll rear its ugly head again somewhere. So you do need to have
On a
good,
personal
strong
level,
leadership.
working with you on a personal level, I say I really appreciate it. And I know where your heart is, and I know that you love Baker County as much as the rest of us, and I appreciate it. And that's the importance of electing people here locally.
And I forgot about another one that's been, and it was my main one. And I said when I got elected, if I'm gonna do one thing, we're gonna build a new council on aging, and we done it. We along with what y'all put in, the city and what the council had raised. I think we put 1.6 million originally toward that building. Came back last year another $500,000 for the parking lot and the lights and the covered walkway. And I heard y'all talking one day there might be enough money to pave that little short portion of the road there that's still dirt. So that all the things I talked about, that's the one I'm most proud of. And I know you are too, because you've been on that board. And we've all worked hard, so that's a good thing out there.
Didn't think I ever had a shot until you became a representative. It was Bradley then, and not
Right? Yep.
just one.
Richland. Yep.
And we
Yep.
worked through that process. We worked many ways to get that to be funded, and finally we come up with a way to get it funded. And I know it was the hard work from you and both Bradleys.
We've had a good team, and they both have listened and recognized what I thought was important in my area. They've always sort of referred to me to that, but they're excellent. Of course, I only worked with Rob for 2 years, but Jennifer now for 6. But you couldn't have asked for better partners over on the Senate side. Of course, can't get nothing done without the House. And you can't get nothing done without the Senate. Or you're going to be very
As
unsuccessful.
big as the funds that you have brought us, the funds that you stopped from Water First North Florida, that's big. We don't have the ammunition to fight such a monster as Duval County. And having you step up and stop that funding from the state and now they're reconfiguring that, so it's more favorable for Baker County. It's not perfect yet, but they don't get the money to do what they were hoping to do, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Not easy work, hard work. You know, we dare to fail in public. And when we fail, people criticize us. When we're successful, people criticize us.
Yep.
So, you know, you just got to keep your head down and you know what you're trying to do. And everybody, I don't know any legislator in Tallahassee that on either side of the aisle, really. I'm not going to think of one out of 120. But they all have the best interest. You know, that we might have different views about how to get there, but I think everybody, just like your board, you have the best interest of what we're trying to do. And I heard one of those candidates for governor the other night say that, and I was a little bit offended, said that they didn't have many godly people in government and they wanted to make sure they came where we could have a godly person. And I thought, well, how dare you question my faith and my Christianity, you know? So those gubernatorial candidates have to be a little more thick-skinned than I am about that at times. But I really do believe that people sacrifice a lot. You know, we're gone 20-something weeks a year. We rent places up there to live. We only get per diem when we're there. And if you're not there in June, July, and August, where we're not, your rent still comes due. You don't get a dime toward it. It comes out of your pocket to pay that. So there's nobody's lining their pockets up there in Tallahassee. I can assure you that.
Okay, y'all ready to take a photograph?
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. I appreciate you too. On behalf of the taxpayers, you have brought a lot of money and a lot of blessings and opportunities in this county that every taxpayer gets the opportunity to reap and without having to pay for that. So thank you very much. I appreciate you.
And we try to do good policy too. You know, in the last year, I've not really been on the budget side of things. I've been in the policy side, dealing with the Judiciary Committee and the laws of the state, because we make the joke up there too. There's the law, and then there's the law. So we make a law that says a sewer line has to be 4 inches wide. But then the committee that I chair will do two things. It takes your liberty, because the laws we make will put you in jail, or on the civil side, it'll cost you money because it decides how people can sue each other and decide their disputes. So that's been a really busy and important committee, and sort of took me out of. I stayed on the Appropriations Committee, but it took me out of the subcommittee category where all this starts. You got to get it through there. And that was certainly an experience. And I'll leave you this, and this is the thing I always tell people, policy-wise in Tallahassee, about 3,000 bills a year filed. On 150, 180 maybe gets passed. So what does that tell you? A lot of bad ideas. And sometimes it's more important what you don't pass than what you do pass. And I'll shut up with that. Leave it alone. We need to go off to the side because of the page.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, we're moving on to public comments. I have one speaker card. There's more cards in the back. I'll remind you, if you want to speak, if you'll fill out a card and get it to Miss Sarah or Miss Kayla, we'll have you speak when the appropriate time. Mr. Porterfield?
Larry Porterfield, 7460 Juniper Road, phone number 904-769-2445. I want to talk about the veterans part, but before I do, I know we've got other veterans in here. Thank you for your service. And remember, never apologize for being patriotic, ever. Don't ever apologize for being patriotic. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the Veterans Lake down here. There's a little article in last week's paper, somebody write letters to the editors or comment. It said Veterans Park in Glen St. Mary's is a wonderful park, as part of the community. Fishing, picnicking, walking dogs, or communicating with nature. We can be proud of this and many other parks in Baker County. And it is. It's a nice place. Now, I've give you a couple of pictures up there of the busted up concrete underneath the shelter. It's cracked all to pieces. And it's right in back of where we put the veterans, the monument for the veterans, thanking them for the service. And I put expansion material between my slab, where the monument is, and the old slab of the shelter. So it can be busted out. It will not make any mess on our concrete. And I just wondered if they could replace that. And also, what's an update on the aerator down there?
I was told the aerator was fixed.
Well, don't ever believe what you hear. Believe what you see. You ever heard that? And none of what you read.
I'm not sure. I'll have to ask staff. I don't have a status on it tonight, but if you get with me tomorrow, we
We'll
can let
get
you
you
know.
a staff.
Yeah.
It's still
We'll get
just
your
like it
report.
was. Okay. Also, I've read some of the papers where you're going to these other parks and stuff and doing wells and getting water. That's fantastic. I've got an idea. We'll see how it flies. See, at the park now, we're getting a lot of family reunions, birthday parties. We've had 2 weddings out there. If we could have water to that park, where people could clean up after that. And here's my idea. The Baker County Water Department the water line runs on that same side as our park is. If we could tap into their water system and go out there and just put a couple of faucets, we wouldn't have to drill a well. You drill a well, you got to get a well house, you got to get stuff to go with it. But if we could just tap into that water system, it'd be the cheapest way for the county to go to get water down there to us. Okay. So that's basically there. Now, also I read in the paper about the Jonesville Park needing a new well. That'd be fantastic. That Jonesville Park is the most utilized park in the county. There are more people utilize that park than anyone, than all of them put together. I also understand, talking to you 2 gentlemen, Mr. Iverson, Mr. Mann, at Juneteenth, that building is going in disrepair again. Back years ago, when I was in charge of veterans, we went in and we rebuilt that. And it was used as a tutoring place. The teacher would take the children in there and do tutoring. I think it'd be neat if we could go ahead and rebuild that again. None of my business. I'm just making, it would really, because that, like I say, that is the most utilized park in the county. Probably more so than all the rest of them put together. Okay? I also read about the 39,000 change or whatever for the new playground equipment at Kyler Park. What age group are you pinpointing it to?
What part were you asking for? I'm sorry.
At Kyler, where you got $39,600 worth of new playground equipment. What age group are you targeting?
It's 9 to 12 on that playground equipment.
Okay. Well, and that's really good. And I see they're wanting water there too, wanting a well. And I went out there the other day, and electricity is available. It's not inside the park yet, but there's overhead lines, and also there's an underground line being installed right up to the corner of the park, but not inside the fence, on the outside of the fence. So that would be an easy access to get water to run the well and the pump, okay? That's really all I have. Again, I want to thank you guys for supporting the veterans. But if we could just work on that water situation, would be fantastic. And get that concrete taken care of. But I'm an old klutz and I've tripped over a couple of times, so I know Sarah would probably, I know that Jimmy Anderson would probably trip over, not Sarah.
I'm much more graceful than that, yes.
Okay, any questions?
No questions, Mr. Leary, from me, but the aerator is fixed. It just needs to be moved back out into the middle of the pond, but it is working. Where
It's
at.
always worked,
Yeah.
but it's never been relocated.
Well, it wasn't working. It got
Yes, it
shifted
is.
over to the side, but yeah.
It's always worked. I go there
Okay.
every single day, 7 days a week.
Okay,
7 days a week.
gotcha.
I go
Just
down and
needs to be
feed
moved.
I go down and feed the ducks.
Okay.
Matter of fact, they recognize when I pull in here, they come running across the water every place else. All right?
Okay.
Mr. Laird, I have a question, if it's okay,
Yes, please.
Chairman. The water in the park, at the Veterans Park you're asking for, what would you want that water to be for, when we get if we were to take the water down in there?
Well, I say, just for cleanliness. Okay.
I guess what I'm asking, we just talking about one sink, or we talking
No,
about
I
now
don't
we
need,
need
I
to
don't
build
need
a
a
bathroom?
sink. I don't know. All I want is
A spigot,
just spigot.
okay. That's
Just
what
a
I was.
spigot. I don't need a sink or anything else. Just someplace to wash your hands. If they bring their food dishes, they can wash their food dishes out and things of that nature. Plus, when I go down there to pressure wash it, I'll have a way to furnish water to my pressure washer.
Perfect.
No,
Thank you.
we just need a spigot.
Okay, thank you.
And that way you guys have to run and pay the bill too down there since it'll be on your water line. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Mr. Porterfield, we appreciate your passion for veterans and your passion for Baker County.
Well, hey.
I can tell you the man's got passion because you try to work with him. Me and him work together on veterans, in the Veterans Park. We work together on Jonesville Park.
See, the thing about Jonesville Park, I know there's a difference between money now and money then, or what we're talking about.
You gotta come up.
Commissioner
Other
Anderson.
people can't hear him.
Come up here so we can hear you.
Like I say, Mr. Commissioner Anderson, when he and I worked out in Jonesville, okay, we went out there and looked at it. And he asked me to give an estimate of what I thought it would work. And I said it's going to cost probably $12,000. At that time, I came down to the existing finance committee here, talked to them, and they said, we'll give you $6,000. And I'll raise the other $6,000 myself. So I'm fond of Jonesville Park. I've got a lot of friends out there that go to that park.
That
So we-
$12,000 has paid many dividends since it was invested.
So the county, there's one thing I want to say that's kind of funny right quick. When we were talking about it here, about, the two bathrooms, and I was asked, do you know how much more toilet paper I'm gonna have to buy if we put two new bathrooms in there? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll buy $500 worth of toilet paper. Commissioner Anderson said the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just,
Remember back then, it had caught on fire.
Yeah.
The siding was gone, the roof in bad shape.
This whole thing is destroyed.
Bad shape, so
Yeah, it's just got,
I work with the veterans, me and my company, we work with the veterans, and we got, we put a new roof on it, got all the siding fixed, and they worked on the decks, and made it a nice place, so. But I hear again, I was approached, that we was having issues back out there with the bathrooms and stuff like that, so.
Yes, sir.
They do need to be addressed.
and the Park Service has been out there and has reworked some of the ramps and stuff that were deteriorated. And there's still work to be done. The clutter inside the building, there's just too much clutter in there for people to get in and utilize the building. So I agree with you. it needs attention.
Just as a reminder too, that building's not ours, but we would have to, coordinate with that community program that owns the facility to do any upgrades, yeah.
I have another speaker card from Mr. Williams. Ms. Williams? Welcome, Ms. Williams.
Hi, Ms. Williams.
How y'all doing? My concern was about the Margaretta Road is where I stay at. There's been a lot more traffic on our road because of the new homes on Cowpen Road. And the road is just, the paint is deteriorating and the road is cracked. And, there's a lot of other roads that's been paved and, repainted. And our road has just been kind of neglected. So that was my concern, was the just repaving of Margaretta and repainting. We have some other things that they've been doing, like speed bumps. That's helped out a lot because of all the traffic that's been coming in. People are just kind of flying in and kind of disregarding, because I do a lot of walking and I noticed that. So the speed bumps helps out a lot. But now it's just the road itself just needs some TLC, repaving, painting over. That's basically my only.
Okay. I appreciate your comments on the speed bumps because I get calls, people against having those speed bumps
Really?
there regularly. And
They're a blessing to us. They are.
there's a good group of people there that care for them, and it's been a good thing for the road itself.
It has.
But
It
I
has.
understand that the neighbors on other roads that come through there because it's a paved road and they don't want to drive on the dirt road they live on. So I appreciate your comments.
Yeah, it's definitely been a blessing. So that was my only concern. My only issue was just stop sign by the park.
She said, what's wrong with the stop sign at the park?
While Troy's making his way up here, Mr. Chairman, if I could, Ms. Williams, I appreciate your comments as well, because we get those phone calls as well. But just so that everyone is aware, the road is scheduled to be striped this year, so that the painting of all those lines that you're talking about, that is on the schedule to be done. It just has to be worked into the maintenance schedule now, but that is a project that's on our list already. As far as repaving, I'll have to look if there's any documentation on where that might fall on the list, but I wanted to let you know for sure it's being restriped this year.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Chairman, County Commissioners, Troy Stigall, Margaretta, Florida. Y'all know I'm gifted for that speed. I am gifted, and I appreciate you, every one of y'all. Chris not here, but I really want to appreciate Chris as well. Everybody that participate in our late James, I appreciate, I really, really do, for what we went through so much to get to where we're at now. But one more to the park, at the stop sign, we have put, Chris have put pipes, the piping there, and they still going around that. We need one or two more to just stop them, because that's gonna cause another wreck. We got a stop sign, we got a speed bump there, speed control there, but instead of going across the speed control, they going around on the sidewalk now. So they're still trying to stop it. So we can get one more somewhere or another to eliminate that problem, because now it's going into the park, and we really don't want that to happen, run over kids. And just to address Mr. Porterfield for Sanderson, I really appreciate the building for what y'all had did in the past, and it does need some more TLC, and we do have meetings there, and appreciate the chairs. Thank you, Ms. Anderson, for the extra chairs that we needed, more chairs and tables, because people are coming in and we're being flooded. So, but I really appreciate that, but we do need the toilets really need to be addressed, need to be addressed. I think that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to approval of the consent agenda.
Move for agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Moving on to new business, Department of Health, year-end review, Ms. Jordan Duncan.
Good evening. Let me just move this up. I'm short, but I'm not that short. Is there a clicker or is this a touch screen?
Underneath you, Jordan, there should be a remote, kind of long, skinny thing. Yeah. Just make sure it's on this side. I think it already is, though.
Looks like it.
There you go.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Jordan Duncan. I'm the administrator of the health department, and I just completed my first year as the administrator. So I asked Sarah if I could have just a few minutes of your time to do a quick year in review. I promise I won't do this every year and make y'all sit through it, but I did want to just highlight some of the wonderful things we did at the health department this year, and thank you guys for your support, and just let you know some of the plans that we have for the future for the health department and how to serve Baker County better. So, well, maybe it's on, maybe it's, oh, it is going. Okay. So I just want to go through some of our programs and just highlight some of what we do. So we have our community programs, which is kind of a conglomerate of multiple programs. So we just kind of encapsulate it under community programs. So it's really essentially any program that we offer that's more of a outreach outside of the walls of the health department rather than people coming to us. So that includes Healthy Start, tobacco prevention and cessation. We have a youth and adolescent program, nutrition education. We also do a lot of health fairs and health screenings. And this year in July of 2025, we opened our community resource hub, which we're very proud of. And it is a place that all of the resources in the community can be found in one location. What we found is a lot of people would come to us and they didn't know where to get a specific resource, and we realized that we can't be all things to all people. We don't have all the resources at the health department, but we can connect them to the resource. So what we did is we reached out to a lot of our community partners, community organizations, and we said, can we have your resources? Can we have your contact information? And we have tons of pamphlets and resources there. We also have a lot of giveaway items, and of course tons and tons of health information, health education materials and resources for folks to come in and get. And then what we've also done is we've offered for other organizations to come in and use our social services conference room in the resource hub, and so that they can meet with clients there rather than expecting someone to drive to Jacksonville to their office. So we have like Child Fund uses it, we've had DCF use it, we've had Wolfson's Players Center comes and helps people with Medicaid assistance. So it's just a place that someone can come, and if they're not sure where to find a resource, they can go to the community resource hub, and if we don't have it there, we will connect them and kind of do a soft handoff. So for our Healthy Start program, that's one of the programs under community programs. It helps moms with babies, and this year we did 321 intakes. That just means that we were notified either by the OB or through different clinics or through the community of a mom, and we connected them to services. 120 of those we actually enrolled into our home visitation services because we realized not everyone needs or wants home visitation. And we provided over 4,000 home visits to moms and babies enrolled in our program. We also have our Real Talk program. It's our youth development program. We go into the schools and daycares and things, churches even, and we do groups, and we talk about bullying prevention, we talk about goal setting, stress management. It's just really for youth to kind of create some resilience and help them be better adults one day. We also launched our Diaper Depot. If you haven't seen it, I should have included a picture. It's a trailer, and we basically fill it with diapers and wipes, and we started off by being at the health department location. Our plan is to move it around the community. We do it 2 Fridays a month, and we actually give out a pack of diapers and a pack of wipes to families with a child under 1. No cost to them. They can just come get it. And then we also, of course, have resources about child safety and safe sleep and car seat safety and all of those things. So it's just a way for us to connect with people and get more resources into their hands. And we realize that diapers and wipes are expensive, and so any place that we can help, we want to. We also added a registered dietitian this year.
Her name is Kelly Cook. She's doing one-on-one counseling. We found that a lot of people were coming into the Resource Hub looking for nutrition counseling, looking for nutrition resources, so we were able to add her this year. And so far she's seen 7 clients, but of course this is a new program, actually 8 as of today. And she sits down with them, and whatever their nutrition deficits are or resources, she will have sessions with them, and it's, again, no cost to them. So that's a wonderful resource. And then, of course, we've done lots of community events. We engage with other organizations and their community events, as even the county health fair and employee health fairs. But then we also have our own events, such as the women's health event, community baby shower. We did a colon cancer awareness, a men's health event. So we have a dental program. We see children I guess children aren't 20, but 3 to 20 years old. Medicaid clients, we have a busing program that buses our students from our school system to the health department to receive services. And we also added this year seeing OB patients. We found that was a gap in the community, that we didn't have a lot of dental care for OB patients. And so we added that. So in total, our dental program, we provided over 18,000 services this year. Over 12,000 of those were preventative, so that's cleaning, sealants, things like that. And over 5,000 were restorative care, treatment, oral surgery, those kind of things. Next up is environmental health. We have a team of environmental health specialists. I'm sure, I know that LaDonna and them are very well versed with Ryan, who does all of our OSTDS, and he's been a fantastic asset for us. All told, we had over 280 environmental health services. As you can tell, a lot of those are OSTDS, but we had other services as well. That's routine inspections, investigation of complaints, enforcement of laws if necessary related to safety and sanitation. I had Ryan actually said this to me, and he said a lot of people don't understand environmental health, but they kind of think that in Department of Environmental Protection and Environmental Health are kind of doing the same job. But Department of Environmental Protection, it protects the environment from people, and we protect people from the environment. So that's kind of what we're doing there. We also have an epidemiology investigation. So our EPI department, we investigate any possible disease outbreaks or trends. This always scares people because of the C word, which we won't say. Now people are really scared of anything that they think might be COVID related or disease outbreaks, but we do this routinely. I know it was new to a lot of people. They don't see this one because it's usually working behind the scenes. But every day we're finding out about diseases that are in the community that we don't want to turn into a pandemic or an epidemic. And so we will look into those. If necessary, we institute treatment or preventative services so that those don't spread in the community. And as you can see, we did quite a few this year. We did have a little uptick in our rabies possible exposures. When it's warm outside especially, we see a lot of dog and animal bites, but thankfully we were able to do Pro-Fee on most of those and have good outcomes. Our medical clinic is really busy all of the time. We've done over 60,000 services this year to over 9,500 clients, and we had over 20,000 office visits. We do primary care, which is kind of out of the norm for health departments. Most of them do not do that. We're one of the only ones in the state, in fact, that does continue to provide primary care services. But we also offer, of course, core public health services like immunizations, STI, HIV, TB, family planning services as well. And this is just kind of a breakup of where those 60,000 services, what kind of services they were.
Ms. Duncan.
Sure.
You probably said this, and I apologize. That was in 1 year?
In 1 year, yes. Mm-hmm. Now that service is not clients. We had over 9,500 clients, but 60,000 services.
Right, 90,
yes.
even 90. That's an impressive number.
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting you.
Yeah, no, you're good. I will point out that is almost a third of our population in Baker County, so we're serving quite a bit of our population every year at the health department. So, our preparedness program, I actually have our planner with us today, Cassie Knoll. She does a fantastic job, and we get accolades all the time for how prepared Baker County is, especially being so small. So the Public Health Preparedness Program is another one of those that people don't think about because you don't want to think about it until there's an incident, and then it's like, oh man, we're not prepared. Who was supposed to be doing that? Well, Cassie's doing it in blue skies so that when we come to gray skies, we're better prepared. She likes to say that if we're really prepared, nothing will ever happen. I hope that that's the case, but I know it's probably not. But she does a lot of planning. She creates our emergency operations plans, which has 1 million different annexes, one for every public health emergency that you can think of. And then we run through those and we do drills and operationalize those plans with our staff so that, God forbid, we ever have a mass prophylaxis event where there is an outbreak of something and we needed to get a bunch of medicine out to the community in a quick, short amount of time. We do that. And we go to the fairgrounds and we operationalize that, and we get our staff, to practice the throughput so that we are ready in case something like that ever does happen. And so we do all of that training and exercise. Last up, I wanted to talk just about future plans. It says future plans, but OB actually is already in existence. Recently, we have not had OB services, obstetrical services in our community for quite some time, and that is something that we were repeatedly hearing, that we need OB services, we need OB services. We were seeing it through our Healthy Start program. Moms were getting all the way to birth and delivery without ever having prenatal care, and we were like, we have to fix this. So we begged and pleaded and cried all around surrounding communities trying to get an OB that would come out here, and we finally were able to connect with Ascension St. Vincent's Family Medicine, and we have an agreement with them where they are coming out every Wednesday and providing OB services, so that's brand new. We've only had a handful of clients so far, but we've only been doing it a couple weeks, and that continues to build, and we're receiving calls every week for people to schedule for those services. So that's fantastic, and it kind of fits right in because we are now doing OB dental services. We've really grown our Healthy Start program. We're doing the Diaper Depot, so we're trying to make it kind of a one-stop shop where somebody can receive prenatal care, dental care, postpartum care, Healthy Start services, WIC services, all in one. Speaking of WIC, we have had WIC at the health department for a long time now, but it has always been under the auspice of Nassau County. They were providing the staff and services, and as of October 1st of this year, we will be providing those services from Baker County. So I'm really excited about that again because we want that full circle kind of all around wraparound services where people can come, and Nassau has done an excellent job for us for many years, but I think it just allows us a little more flexibility and to tie WIC completely into Baker County services at the health department. So that is all I have for you. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them, but I did want to say thank you guys so much for your support. When I came to the board a year ago, for you guys to endorse me. When we left, my supervisor was with me, and he said, I have never seen a board so complimentary of the health department and the services that you provide. And so that means a lot to me. That means a lot to our staff, who are mostly locals, who are mostly community members. And I can tell you that they don't do it for the money. They do it because they love this community. And so knowing that they have the support of the commissioners is very important to them and to me. So thank you.
Yes, please.
On the WIC program, are you
Yes.
going to run out of the health department, so you'll be able to come to the health department and not another location in Baker County?
Yeah, so it's going to be run out of the health department here, so they will continue. They've already been coming to the health department here, but it will be our staff and all of those things. But it does allow us to kind of look at the needs of the community a little bit better, and not from the perspective of another county, but from Baker County, because I'm biased, but I feel like we know what our county needs a little better than another county does.
And going back to the compliments, it's still well deserved. And we're not complimenting you on anything that you don't deserve.
That's right.
It's well deserved compliments. It's been like that for many, many years now. And you just come in and brought us to another level. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We
Jane.
appreciate it.
Yes, please.
Actually, two very quick things. One, it's easy to be complimentary towards that department when you guys are doing the job that you're doing. So you earned the compliment. Second of all, it looks like you say 33% of the county is using your services. I think it kind of answers the question. But for example, in the dental, how are you advertising? How do the people know that these services are available? Because I do notice it says that you are servicing Baker County and Clay County children.
Yes, so we do serve Clay County. They have a dental sealant program that's in the schools, and a few years ago they asked if we would be willing to come and serve in their schools, and we already had the equipment and the staff to do it, and so we do that, and actually it kind of enables us to better serve our community in a way, because we may not be able to have those two staff if we weren't also receiving funding for Clay County as well. We do advertise through the school district mostly for those programs. We've had a little bit of trouble in the past with advertising. Of course, we use our own budget to put ads in the press and all, but we've, up until recently, not been allowed to have social media. And we found that that's been a little bit of a difficulty because, as we know, most of the clients this day and age that are needing services and receiving services from us, they're on social media. That's how they get their information. And so we have struggled. We go out and we do community events and we pass out flyers and we do ads in the press, and it's been really difficult. And we just received notice that sometime in the next month we will have our own Facebook account, and we'll be able to put that information out on Facebook and share it throughout the community. So that's fantastic. But
Perfect. Thank you again. Good job.
you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Moving on to,
We got a public hearing.
okay,
That's what you were going to say. Moving on to the public hearing.
moving on to the public hearing. We'll pause now and move into the public hearing. It's 6:04, so we're already running a little late, so we'll just go ahead and straight into it.
Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting on Donna to make her way up here, if we could get you guys to pull your mics a little closer to you while you're speaking. We're getting some comments from the Facebook feed that we're not able to hear you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You guys are ready?
I apologize for my sinuses flipping out on me, but I'm ready to go.
Okay, so I only have one item for you guys this evening, and it's it's the second reading, so we'll have final action tonight. Again, it's only one item. Okay. So this application is for a modification of subdivision development. This is for an application that was previously approved, just with a modification to the number of lots and change the road layout just a little bit. So Mr. David Burnham, on behalf of North Star Acquisitions, submitted this application. This property is located on the northeast corner of County Road 125 and County Road 139B, just across the street from where 139B comes out onto 125. It's 26.6 acres with a current land use of high-density residential. Oh, got some feedback there.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I promise I'm not repeating myself. With a zoning of residential conventional 0.25. So the current intent of the applicant is to develop 67 lots. The previous application was for 55 lots. So we'll look at that a little more detail in just a second. So you can see, maybe. There we go. So you can see again, high-density residential for this parcel with RC 2.5. Most of the surrounding area is medium-density residential with RCMH 0.5. And then you see just south of this is where the town of Glen is. So that's what that block of color to the south of this parcel is. So in June of 25, this application, the original application was approved with 55 lots. Since that time, there have been some permitting changes for wetland areas. And with those permitting changes, it changed the usable space in one corner of this property. And so that allowed for the addition of a few more lots. So that's why we went from 55 to 67. So you can see there that lot change. And then it also changed the road to extend just a little bit further in that bottom corner as well, that south corner. Each lot will still contain at least 0.25 acres, just like the original design. There's no change there. Just like before, the entire development will be served by the town of Glen and have municipal water. Each one will have a private septic system, just like the original proposal. We do still have the secondary access for emergency purposes that you'll see in that south corner there. The interior road will be paved and will meet the county standards, and it is the intention of the developer to dedicate the internal road to the county, and so the Public Works Department will be part of that to make sure that everything is followed and that it meets the county standard. So again, there's just a little kind of a bigger picture of the 67 lots, and you can see that there was an area for a mail kiosk added as well. So just like with any other development of this type, after this process, the development would be platted prior to the plat being approved and signed. Any outstanding state or other agency permits would have to be satisfied. So the Water Management District and any of that wetland mitigation that's required, they would have to have those permits in place before we signed and recorded that plat. And then, of course, the actual commencement of building on those individual lots could not start until that plat was signed as well. So you may see some clearing and things of that nature prior to, but that would be the only things that you saw prior to that plat approval. You guys, I think it was this week, it may have sometime over the last couple of days, I know you guys received an email from a neighboring property owner. I did print that for you guys in case you had not seen it on your email. I'm not sure if you wanted it to be read for the public record, if we just wanted it attached as the public record, or if you guys had any questions that maybe needed to be answered from that citizen letter.
I think it needs to be included in the public record, not necessarily read in the public record.
Yes,
and
sir.
I think Ms. Knapp addresses many of the concerns that we addressed in the first reading. It's heavy traffic on the road. If the bus is going to stop out there on the road and block that highway, it's going to be a mess.
Yes, sir.
But we don't have any control over that.
Right.
The school system decides where those bus stops are and how they manage that. Unfortunately, we don't have any influence with that.
I did to reach out to the superintendent, asking for us to have a meeting to sit down and kind of discuss their process for this. We have not met yet, but I have reached out asking for us to have a conversation, and maybe if we know in the future how they're approaching, this sort of development. Just, we want to make sure that we're looking at the same thing. They thoroughly understand what we're asking for. Is every development treated the same? Are there different parameters that they look at? Is there more information that we could provide them up front? You know, we just want to make sure that we're covering all the bases that we can. You know, at the end of the day, that's still their wheelhouse.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of questions. On the speed limit, and I looked today, it looks like to me, unless I missed a sign, that it goes from the 20 mile an hour where the school zone is to 45 in front of that. Looks like almost at maybe the town limit or somewhere right in there. I've seen one. I don't know if you've noticed that. I do think if they're going to have a bus, which I don't think that's a good idea to have a bus stop on 125 with that many houses. How many children could be coming out of there?
Right.
How long can you sit there safely? I mean, I've watched them before. People go right around the red stop and, you know, that something we can't stop, unfortunately. But I think that's going to be an issue, and I think we need to make sure that we convey that to the school board, that that's a safety concern. Are they willing to take that safety?
Right.
I mean, that's a major, that's a lot of houses and could be a lot of children.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we don't know who's going to buy in there or how many children they're going to have, but realistically, there's going to be some in there, and quite a few. And my concern is that I wonder if there's a way to look at those speed limits and maybe slow it down a little bit in there, because I know before I want to say it was 35 until you got to Madison, maybe. It seemed like, I can't remember exactly when they did that, but I know it slowed down more than it was, because I drive that road every day, so I know you couldn't go that fast as they've changed it.
And it
at
changed to
certain
45
places.
at Park Street.
Park.
Like you're saying, the Park is
Yeah.
where it changed to 45?
That's
and
what
then
I
it changed to
thought.
35 about what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
Yeah,
I
I
don't
remember there
know
being
who-
some changes.
Who did,
There,
I guess because they widened the road, maybe they could up
Right.
the speed limit. I assume that's the reason, but I do have a concern with that and the bus stop for sure. Did we do any kind of, since they've increased this now, or want to increase it, have we done any study on traffic and how much that
So
concern will be?
initially, we had reached out to Pittman Engineering to get a recommendation from them. And their recommendation was based on the speed limit and the number of lots, and that a traffic study was not necessary, that it was their opinion that there would not be any recommended changes. So when we received the modification application, I reached back out to them, and I received the same answer, that the additional lots from 55 to 67, in their opinion, did not change that determination. So yes, we did, to answer your question, we did
You
have a
did check
conversation
that.
with the new number of lots. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right, yeah, LPA did have the same concerns when we had the LPA meeting, and I think we discussed that some last meeting, that their concerns were similar. But again, that's a little outside of my wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
I believe the applicant raised his hand, might want to say something while he's on his way up here. We can have our traffic engineer look at that, Commissioner Hartley, and if it warrants a speed limit reduction through there, since it's a county road, the county can make that without, any arbitrary process
I thought.
through FDOT or things like that, we can absolutely have the engineer look at that increased traffic flow, and even though it may not warrant a traffic study, it could warrant a reduction in speed limit, and we can take care of that.
Can you bring up the plan, please? Now, these roads are oversized than normal. Y'all, the county and the city both went up to 26-foot wide roads, which is wider than normal. And the superintendent might not understand that either. And we could oversize the intersection. If they come in and turn around at that intersection, like you see them all the time, they'll whip in somewhere, turn around, and pick up kids and come out. That would probably be an easy turn right there to turn around in, because it's going to be a very large intersection, but already oversized roads. If we could put some no parking signs on that side of the street, which I believe could happen, and the bus could come in, turn around, and come back out. Now, whether or not you can talk the superintendent into doing that, it is a little different than the past small subdivisions like the other ones that you've seen, since y'all upsized the road. So I think it could go in and out a little easier. It shouldn't delay the bus a whole lot. And if that's a busload of kids, they go in and get a busload of kids. They're not having to travel to Kyler to pick up more kids. They could go back to school, So I don't know if that's going to fill the bus up or not. We don't know, but it is a considerable amount of kids. And it should be easy in, easy out. Should be, my opinion. So.
We hope the superintendent will hear our concerns and help us address it.
I know they know how to turn around, because they turn around right next door to me on my property every day. They pull in, back up.
They're good
So
at
I
it.
know that the bus people know how to do that.
Yeah, I think I've seen them turn around in tighter spaces.
Which also that brings its own dangers too. A youngin running up there late, and that bus because I agree with what Commissioner Hartley was saying, but I don't have a solution for the turning around in there. I think is probably the best we're going to get. So I'll support that. I have nothing better to offer other than that emergency lane down there. Just saying, they could come in and out of there and just make a loop, and we don't have to turn around.
If there was a connectivity like we did over on the 23, the other end, I think that was your property too. They did a connection with it. I only remember Mr. Bennett brought that up. Connecting those roads, then you sure wouldn't have a problem with the school bus, because they could go in but with the way this drawing is, they would have to back up, turn around.
Which
There's a
they do,
way.
which they do a lot, apparently. Everything.
Yeah, I know.
But also too, Mr. Hartley, that this is a mail kiosk, but we're actually going to put it here, and we're going to make this a tot lot, that area there. This is going to be a home lot. It's just, we just didn't get it in. And LPA recommended this, and so I agree that we can make that a tot lot, so they could actually stage right here. And when they get turned around, they can pull right here, and the kids could stage in that tot lot area, my opinion. And so that's going to a slight change later. Mail kiosk comes here, this squares off, this pie shape that big enough for a house, will now be a playground tot lot type deal.
Thank you, Mr. Burnham. Any more questions or comments from the board? What's the pleasure of the board? Oh, I'm sorry. Any other public comments on this item? Thank you. Hearing none.
Move approval of the modification subdivision plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is not a read by title item, is it?
It is not.
There's nothing to read.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the grant application modification. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
And that ends our,
So, tell me again why we can't use that by emergency.
That ends our public hearing. We'll move back into our regular commissioners meeting. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Yeah.
Yeah, I got hot.
call this meeting back to order. We'll keep moving along with grant application, historic jail.
One more above that, Mr. Chairman. We've
No,
got a
we're
change
on the-
order.
Oh, we didn't do that? All right.
Yes, sir.
Feels like we did.
Feels like we've been here a long day already. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the last few items on here won't take too much discussion with the exception of one, I'm sure. Presented before you tonight is a change order. This is for our Emily Tabor Library renovations. So for the last few years, the library has been undergoing some renovations to the outside of the building through a historic preservation grant. There was a delay in getting to this point just for materials preparation. And then also we had a very long delay due to the state discovered that they had given us authorization to proceed based on engineered plans and decided midway through that they wanted architectural plans. And so we had to prepare those and send those in for review at the state. And that was part of the delay. That was actually the 95% of the delay was because the state then had to review those architectural plans. So again, that was not something that was discussed in the middle of the project. We had started and then they decided they needed that. So obviously we had to get that done to be able to proceed on into the project. With that being said, because we had such a long delay in getting that approval to proceed at the next step, we do have some cost increase in materials and a little bit of an increase in labor as well because, like I said, it's been on hold for about a year, actually, while it went through that plan design and then review. So presented before you tonight, is a change order. We are recommending, we've looked at this, we've talked with the contractor. There are two options here. However, we're comfortable with the lower option for just a different contractor and a different process that they have. Again, no issues or concerns there. Staff does recommend award of the change order in the amount of $23,121.66. Sorry about that. I've got a tickle in my throat. That would be paid to Trimco for them to then sub that out to Galaxy Builders Incorporated. Again, we do have match money set aside for this project in ARPA, and that is where we were asking for this to be paid from. And again, this is for a complete replacement of all windows and doors on the building, which is desperately needed. Several of those are really on their last leg. Excuse me. So again, this increase is just specific to the increase in price of materials and labor since we've had the delay.
Which is what exactly I said at
23,000.
a few meetings ago.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That's exactly what I said a few meetings
Oh,
back.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There would be a change order just for this simple reason.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We're happy to see it move forward and get started, and that should be completed before the end of the fiscal year, or excuse me, of the calendar year on that replacement.
I actually thought the change order would be bigger, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in form of a motion. We approve 23,121.66 change order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the award of the change order for 23,121.66. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Commissioner Anderson, that change order was originally higher, and Remy said absolutely not. She made that contractor really work, actually under the threat that we would cancel the remaining part of the contract and find a new contractor based on the original price that they presented, so big thanks. Yes.
Same scope of the project, and then look at the change order.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate that work.
Now we're moving to grant application.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So this is one we've actually discussed over the last few meetings here as a group. This is the grant application for the historic jail. Again, this is the same type of grant application that we have been successful on for the library. In fact, this would be phase 6, I believe, for the historic jail. Since the early 2000s, the county, like I said, has 6 successful grant funds that we've received for the historic jail. 5. This will be number 6. So what we are asking for is a grant application submitted for the brick repair on that masonry we've talked about, where the original part of that building and then the jail cell part of that building, where they were constructed, there's a crack from the corner of that connection all the way across the front of that building. Thankfully, it is not structural yet, but it does need to be addressed as a high priority item so that it doesn't continue to cause any deterioration. So this grant application is being submitted for that repair. Previously, we had discussed the possibility of adding some ADA compliance to get that chair lift up to that short little flight of stairs, and then a fire alarm system. Unfortunately, the state does not qualify those as expenditures for that grant fund. They consider those items equipment, and equipment is excluded from funding. So we could not include that. However, we are going to be looking internally about at least that chair lift. Like I said, the main elevator lift to get you to the second floor works, and it needs some more upgrades to it, but we're going to keep working on that as well. We're talking about the small little chair lift. Like I said, there's 3 or 4 steps to get you on up into the next part of the second floor, and that's the part we're going to try to look in-house and see if we could be able to do that and get some upgrades done on that this coming year as well. So what's presented before you tonight, again, is a grant application in the amount of $109,150. The way that is broken out is grant funds of $87,320. Historic preservation grants do require a 25% match. You cannot submit that without the match. And so that creates a local match of $21,830, which is very, very close to the budgetary number that we were looking at. We were looking not to exceed $25,000 on our local match. So with that being said, staff does recommend approval of the grant application. Again, total $109,150. And I can answer questions if you have them.
Yeah, the only question I had is the match. Has that been presented in our budget for this year?
You know what? Actually, was it in Brooklyn's grant spreadsheet that we went over with her on Friday? I think it was. Yeah. Yes, sir. It should be in that dedicated fund that Brooklyn talked about earlier this afternoon. We went through all of Remy's grant spreadsheet with Brooklyn last week. So yes, it should be there. Yes, sir. It should be.
I make a motion we approve the application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the grant application for $1,900, or for $109,150. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Sarah Little, you're on the floor again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm going to briefly introduce what we're presenting tonight. We do have Andrea here with us who represents our broker with the Florida Risk Management Fund. And so she's here to help answer any more in-depth questions, but I'll provide a quick summary to you all, and we'll try to go from there. So in current year, we do have Florida Blue as our healthcare provider. And then United Healthcare for dental and VSP for vision. When we went to renewal this year, we had a very high original introduction into the 20% increase to keep all of our current plans as is. So Andrea talked with Florida Blue, and they came back with a proposal. If we were to consolidate all of our services under one umbrella, they would give us a bundle discount for being able to do so. So with that, our health insurance plan did not change at all. It's a renewal of the exact same plan under Florida Blue. And it would be moving dental and vision under Florida Blue in a mirrored plan that would be almost identical to what we have under those current providers now. With that being said, that move actually got us at a renewal rate of 11.7%. So we're very pleased with that. Honestly, I think that we're very fortunate to be able to see numbers that are not in the upper 20% renewals. If you'll see on the very first page of your spreadsheet, that's kind of highlighted there at the bottom. It's actually not quite 11.7, it's 11.62%, but we kind of rounded up for budgets moving forward. So with that being said, all of the budgets that you guys have seen in the budget workshops, with the exception of Ms. Duggars that was here today because she has the luxury of waiting a little bit longer to prepare hers. Those were presented to you all with a 15% renewal rate for those. And so we'll have to go back and adjust that down to the 11.67. So you will see some budgetary savings so far from where you are. Again, Andrea worked very hard to make sure that these plans, like I said, were mirrored to what we currently have now without any loss of coverage to the employees. With that being said, staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners absorb that increase, the 11.67%, and that the rate splits would stay the same for the employees. They would not have any additional expense out of pocket for the health insurance. On the dental and vision, there is a little bit of a premium increase per paycheck. And when I say little bit, I mean $2 or $3. I mean, it's very minimal per paycheck that they would see a difference. And also, in addition to that, there's one service under dental that would be for a root canal that we were just not able quite to match that benefit, and it resulted in about a $200 increase out of pocket to staff for that specific procedure. And so because the county does have an HRA that we fund every year, it is not a traditional HRA setup that is actually, you have to follow lots of IRS type rules. We call it an HRA fund because, people understand what that is. However, that is just a fund that you all fund through local money. It's not, it's just the board pays it. It's not anything that the IRS monitors like a traditional HRA. So with that being said, we are recommending that the increase in the $200 procedure for that root canal be added to our HRA for a reimbursable item to our employees. With that being said, that really puts it at a true like-for-like cost to employees now. So again, Andrea's here and she can go more in depth if there are specific questions about the plans and how they're being presented to you all. That's kind of a summary of how we got to where we are now.
So how many options of plans are there? 4?
So,
Am I
yes, sir.
reading
So
that
there's
right?
no
Hard to
changes.
see this little
It
print.
is small. So
I
for
can't
health,
see it.
for our health insurance, we've got an HMO and a PPO, and that's that first spreadsheet there. And listen, that's current. There's no changes. So everything that's offered to employees now would be the exact same. And the same for dental as well. We've got 3 different options. Basically your regular dental insurance, and then like a buy-up plan for people who may have more dental work or orthodontics. That's a good one to have. And then there's a lower plan also for people who may just be concerned about their cleanings and things like that throughout the year. They don't have any dental work coming up. They go once or twice a year and they're okay. And then if they don't have any kind of major dental procedures planned, they can get that more that less expensive plan as well to kind of save some money for that as well. And then on vision, again, just one set of coverage from VSP that's been mirrored with Florida Blue.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
So Sarah, once you come up with this and did you present this has all the county employees seen this, and has there been any kind of reservations or anything? Is everybody happy with this? I don't know why they wouldn't be. I'm just making sure
Absolutely,
that
yes, sir.
everybody affected has been
Yes,
has seen
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. So we did not have an insurance committee meeting because of the time frame that we had to get that information back to the broker.
Mhm.
But that has been shared via email with all of the constitutional officers and their HR staff. There was some concerns about that dental procedure costing more money, which is why we added that to the HRA. I have sent out, Andrea really finalized those spreadsheets last Thursday, if I remember correctly on my dates. We sent that back out just to confirm what all those final confirmations from Florida Blue was. I have not heard any other issues from those members. Again, we've not formally sat down and reviewed it in a meeting, but they have had it and had time to review it.
Perfect.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a little concern with the committee not getting the information in a timely and the county not getting it timely.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know whose fault that was.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't the county's. So I hope this doesn't happen again,
Yes, sir.
because that is unacceptable.
Yes, sir.
That whoever dropped the ball on this, they need to know we expect better. Or I'm speaking for myself, I expect
No,
better.
you're speaking for me too, because
Okay,
that's
thank
exactly
you.
what I was fixing to say.
So,
Yes, sir.
there's no
Speak for all of us.
excuse.
It's
And
unacceptable.
I'm not very happy with how it turned out.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
And
This is,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is
Like I
on.
said, put in the position
No,
that we're making this,
we-
the
we're not
county's
going to be.
employee, the county manager has to make this type of decision without presenting it to,
Yeah.
going through the proper process, which we have done for years, because of the lack of information that we've received.
And actually, our county manager has done above telling them stuff since she's been
So
involved. And
I have issues with that as a commissioner. I'm glad that we got this where it's at. And I'm glad that we worked through the dental issue. But all that could have been worked out in a different way than what we worked out.
yes,
And so speaking for myself,
I agree with that
it's
completely.
And commissioners?
That we put in this position.
And commissioners, we have been working diligently with Sarah and her team to get the information over to you. And we will ensure that as we move forward, that we will have this early. Last year, you requested that we have Sarah requested that we have the renewal. It's typically on July 1st, is when we typically, Florida Blue likes to provide the renewal. They were able to provide it in the beginning of June. And then when they presented that was a 29% rate increase. And then when we went back again, it was a 19% rate increase or 20% rate increase. So getting the dental and vision quotes and all of those back from them took a little longer than we expected. But getting it together, and I think the end result definitely met your expectations. But in addition to the end result being good, we want to make sure that going forward that we can have this information over to Sarah and her team earlier next year and make sure that they have it and all of you have it to make an informed decision for you. You're welcome. Any other questions or concerns at this time?
No, not for me.
Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I move approval as the insurance that's been presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the insurance benefits and rates as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Thank you for your time today. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. The subject we all love, and I wish Mr. Mobley was here to
I was gonna
talk
say, of
about
all
it.
meetings for Commissioner Mobley to miss, he's listening to us though, so y'all be careful. Let's not bad mouth him too much.
We can just table it and talk about it next time.
No.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'll open us up and then we'll actually have Mr. Zach Morris with our engineering firm that's been working on this project. He's here and he'll kind of go over it in more detail than I am. But so what got us here today, right, is a lot of years and a lot of time, a lot of meetings, Dennis. I don't know if we've kept track of how many it's been, but we probably would be sad to know the true number, I'm sure. But just to kind of bring everybody up to speed on where we're at. So we talked about this a little earlier in the evening, but I know we might have some new people listening into it, so I just want to kind of recap where we are. So St. Mary's Cove Boat Ramp was reconstructed about 3 years ago now, utilizing a grant with the Florida Wildlife Commission to do that. The county closed out that project on our end and started the reimbursement process. And about 10 days later, Hurricane Debbie hit Baker County and washed most of that back out into the river. And that's basically where we are today. So since that time, FWC has extended our grant on that project just simply to close out that process. Like I said, there's no additional funding that they're paying towards for it. Like I said, we've not changed that. However, they've kept it open so that the county can get reimbursement for that first part of that grant that we received. So since that time, we have been working through the delicate process, which is FEMA, to be able to reconstruct this boat ramp again for a second time. A lot of information has floated around over the last few years about what led to that failure of that boat ramp. And we have had a lot of people all across the country come and look at this boat ramp for us, and they all say the same thing, that the location of the boat ramp in that cove is the problem. That as the water level rises, it creates a whirlpool effect, and that water just gets in there and spins. And there's really no amount of redesign that we could do that would prevent this from happening in the future to some degree. And to prevent this boat ramp from washing out repeatedly year after year with storms or as water level rises, we need to move it. We need to move it upstream slightly to a more suitable location. If any of you guys have actually used that boat ramp, you'll know that oftentimes you have to drive across the sandbar and back out into almost the middle of the river to even be able to launch your boat because of the way that the sand pools there in that cove, and then also just the lower level of water. So The plan has been to relocate that boat ramp slightly upstream, again, still on county property there in the same park, but to a more suitable location with a little bit more water depth there and not located in a cove, so that we can reduce this continued erosion that we're seeing there in the cove. So with that being said, Zach Morris with AMI, they have been under contract with the county for the past several months, working on this project diligently for us. And they are here to present 90% plans to you all for consideration. They have also been submitted to FWC for comments. You guys keep that in mind if FWC does have any comments, since that grant is reopened and they're and they're basing that future reimbursement back to the county on this reconstruction. They do have to review that, just like it was as part of the first phase. So if they have any comments or changes, we'll get that back from FWC and make you all aware of that and AMI aware of that. But with that being said, I think that pretty much summarizes. We've got some people in the audience maybe that are here for it as well. 2 of our folks have left. I hope they come back before we're done. But
They said they had.
gotcha. Maybe they're listening in. Hopefully they waited it out. But with that being said, Mr. Chairman, Zach is here. And I think he's got a presentation to show you guys and can answer the more technical questions that are outside of my scope. Thanks, Zach.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. It's been a blessing listening to everyone tonight. It's a much different city council meeting, chair, commissioner meeting that I'm used to, so I like it. Thank you. That being said, if this is active, can I play with it? Or,
No, sir, but it will scroll if you look underneath. There's the remote underneath the podium where you're at there. Yes. So as you click forward, that tablet will scroll for you as well.
Thank you. So I'll flip to the plan views because I think those are probably the most beneficial for everyone's time. This is just showing the demolition plan of the existing launch and removals of the removing the articulated concrete blocks and the existing concrete bolt launch here. Removing that, and the plan is to beautify this area here, grade it back with the in-situ material. As the current plan is to focus more on the restoration and relocation of it than future improvements down here. So that's just a removal plan here. And when we get into, here we go, the overall proposed site plan, this is where Sarah was talking about moving the launch up approximately 100 feet. Doing that via FEMA took a lot more energy than was anticipated. There's a lot of questions. We had to prove it was better. As we went back and forth with the agencies, it took some time, but we got buy-in on it, so that's a good thing. The water depth's a little bit deeper too, so that's good. When you have low water here, you'll still be able to launch your vessels even in the lower water, which we observed when we were out here last time doing the survey. What you're seeing here in the plan is, instead of that articulated concrete block, you're seeing a lot of riprap. And underneath that riprap, there's geotextile. So the geotextile size accordingly, so sand doesn't escape out of it when you have flood events. So that's a kind of a specific design. And then the rock goes on top of it, and we told that into the slope to make sure it's there for the long term. And it accounts for some scouring effects and filling in, which is what rivers do. They kind of move a lot of sediment. So a lot of thought went into that process, and I guess the one flagship part would be the boat launch itself. We work on a lot of boat launches. We've seen a lot of boat launches fail throughout our time in the industry. So the one thing that we're doing that's pretty resilient for this location, but I think the right decision is, this is a fiber reinforced plastic wall system here, and it's filled in with concrete, which locks everything in and keeps all the sediment and fill material trapped in underneath that for long-term resiliency. So if you get a big hurricane event and it really wreaks havoc here, which it has in the past, that's going to stay. So we're very confident in that design. And I have cross sections, but someone mentioned earlier about engineering plans and people not liking them, so be sensitive to that. The other thing that you're going to see here is a nice improvement. I was out at the site earlier today, and this is asphalt going around, so you can pull your boat and trailer forward and then back up straight. We did as much tree mitigation as humanly possible within the engineering constraints that we had. So we minimized all tree removal, so full extent practical. You'll see a couple big oak trees that we kept right here. That's by design. Like we threaded that needle because we had slope on the left-hand side here that we had to be cognizant of. But we wanted this to be a straight shot. I've been at enough boat launches that if you make it harder on someone that doesn't know what they're doing, it doesn't end well, especially when you have big old trees next to your boat launch. Even if it's a wider boat launch, you want to engineer it as well as you possibly can. And the other component that we'll have here is a vertical curve. So when you're backing up your boat, you can see your boat backing down, over the ramp there. So it'll be a nice gradual back down to launch your boat. So really excited about it. There's more details that we can go into, but again, I just want to hit the highlights here and open up for any questions.
What kind of riprap?
The exact type of riprap, I believe we have called out in the spec sheets. I believe it's about a 1 foot nominal diameter. So I forget the exact FDOT. I forget the exact type of FDOT riprap that is. But the D50, which is a medium size diameter, is 1 foot.
Okay.
My apologies. And the other thing you'll see there too is, you've probably seen a lot of boat launches, is one thing that I'm a big proponent of is make sure you have scour protection at the end of your launch, because it seems like everyone power loads, even though you're not supposed to, you really shouldn't. And that always creates a huge scour hole. And then the other day I was just launching my boat and I fell into one actually, like literally fell in, and the guy next to me, like the day before, his trailer dropped over the end of it and he got stuck. So we design what we call a scour protection detail at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that to me is paramount to do that right. I'm going backwards, sorry guys. But that's what that detail in the upper left-hand corner shows. 10 feet of that riprap extending out,
Yeah.
filled in with geotextile underneath it. All right.
I appreciate
Other
it, Zach.
questions?
Yeah.
I'll be around after too, so don't be afraid.
There may be some questions. I think we do have a public comment on it, Zach. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get Mr. Greg Shepard to give us a couple of public comment.
Thank you. Just there.
I just turned it off.
Oh.
That's on the side.
There you go. It's got a little bit of a delay in it, but there you go.
All right, so thank you. My name's Greg Shepard. Just speaking as a citizen here, and glad to see the progress. I know it's been time consuming to try and get here, going through FEMA and all the other agencies. So looking at this, I like this. My question is, where is the parking going to be? Is that going to be up here on the left-hand side of this ramp? And then how does the parking play into where we're supposed to be putting the new building and the bathrooms and all that? Is this all brought together,
Yes.
or are we doing this in pieces?
Yeah.
So that was my question.
So Zach, you may be able to clarify about the parking for that, but to answer your
Parking
question.
And then the other buildings?
Yes, so Greg, they are aware of the future building there. We don't have funding for that yet, but we do have it designed. But yes, it
Okay,
does
so
allow
that's-
for that to still be on site.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
cool. I
Yes,
just
yeah.
wanted to make sure that we weren't doing this piece.
Right.
And then, okay, I knew we didn't have funding for
Yes,
the other.
sir.
But if we didn't have funding, then,
Yes.
oh, now how do we shoehorn this in there?
Right, no, but
Okay.
still intended to be on site if we secure future funding. Once we build this, we'll be able to apply for more grants from FWC.
Yep.
Right now, because that grant application is still considered open, we can't apply for any construction
Understood.
for that one. But
Okay,
yes, once we
just
do
wanna make
that,
sure
then
we're
that's the next step.
Looking around the
Yes,
corner and looking down the road.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
And you're right about the parking too.
Zach, if you can come to the mic just so they can hear you too,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to speak louder, but I forget about people online. My apologies. And you are correct about the parking to the left there, upper left there in that open area.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
The question I have is the old boat ramp. Are we gonna be able to utilize that for canoe launch or anything like that, or is it just gonna be?
Yes, do you want to speak to some of the material that's being used on that? So the concrete itself will not be there, but we
Right.
do have plans to keep that space available, yes.
Yes, so we've talked about that. I don't know if we've landed on exactly how that's going to go
Yeah.
down, but we proposed a few things to Baker County on ways that you can still utilize that area, and something that is pretty easy to install, frankly. I know a lot of people do it in-house, right, for counties and so forth, but it's more of like a beach mat going down there, and that's really nice for a lot of pedestrians, because, you know, it gets choppy as you go down, you stir up the sand and stuff. So that's a nice, I would say, elegant solution for that area in particular.
That was my only concern, because it's got the boat ramp where you put the bigger boats in, and then you got people that's coming up wanting a canoe or kayak
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yes, it'd
And
be
it's
like a
different
walkthrough.
access for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tube or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like a walkthrough passage there.
Zach, is that still included? Because initially we had talked about putting that material that you're talking about there and then some standards, or I don't remember the words,
Bollards, yeah.
bollards up at the
Yeah.
top to keep vehicles from going down there. Is that
Yeah.
still in the plan? That hasn't changed, has it?
It is not in this plan right now, Dennis.
Hey,
Let's
Zach,
talk
can
about
you
that.
repeat the question? Because
Oh, I'm
people listening
sorry.
don't know what Dennis is.
So the question was about the material type going down when their existing bolt launch concrete is removed. The plan is that was discussed is to have bollards at the top of the old boat launch, so vehicular traffic cannot go down. And then it was discussed that there would be a type of either reutilizing the articulated concrete block or a beach mat type system to the water. That is not reflected on this plan. This plan is focused on the permitting efforts with respect to the new boat launch.
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks,
Any
Zach.
questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the board?
Is this a vote?
It's really.
90% planned, so I'm not sure.
Right, if you all had any changes to the construction documents and would direct them to do that now. I did speak with Commissioner Momley, he did not, he thought that the plans looked good, from his perspective as well. So really, I don't think formal action by the board in the way of a motion is necessary, but just that you all are good with this plan and that you're not looking for any changes tonight.
Yeah, I'm
Looks
good with it, as long as we're addressing about the canoes and stuff like that.
Yes,
That
sir.
was my concern, is dragging canoes up and down, or there people trying to launch their boats at the same time. It's safety.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
That should be it for this one, Mr. Chairman, but since Dennis is here, if Dennis, the next item, and Mr. Chairman, if you're okay with it, is the FEMA projects. We can let him kind of touch on some of those subjects.
Come on up.
And we'll start, Commissioners, with exactly the answer to your question. So again, we're in design phase here. So we'll go back to the whole FEMA process and kind of where we are and how much it took for us to get to that, what we're going to call the 548 number to get this thing kicked off, right? Because we were not even in the same ballpark. When we got it in the ballpark, we were moving forward with the complete support of Commissioner Mobley and those folks that are leaning on him so heavy. But the initial plan was, if we could, to shift that old boat ramp, pull the concrete out, and make an access pedestrian, canoe, and kayak. There's a couple of different options there. Where we've got some wiggle room here, and there's some decisions that eventually to be made by the board, is we also at that time made a decision for maximizing the benefit and not using the old articulating block, which was kind of the direction from Commissioner Bennett early on, right? And so going with that larger riprap. There was a cost give and take in there that may or may not have chewed up what we were hoping to fund the beach mat material with. The bollards, I don't remember specifically discussing the cost of those, but that material is a very resilient material, something that when the sun's on it, you can still walk on it with your bare feet, that kind of thing. So it still is in our dream wish and hope to get there. At a minimum, what we could do at the county level is once we get there, if we are not able to reach what we're looking for the cost benefit
for adding those additionals. I think that's for sure something that's in the county's ability to install those bollards and at least prevent, because we know what's going to happen is you're going to end up loading 2 trucks at a time there if we don't do something to control it. And there's also some discussion of connecting that with what we were doing on a larger scale with the county as far as the kayak routes and that kind of thing. So I think some of those things are still in discussion, but it was absolutely part of the plan initially. Still our goal. We just have to look in to see where the money comes down on the construction side.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I'll pick up with the update part, and I have what I'm going to call good news. So I'm going to be here very short. It's a shame I didn't get in before the 6 o'clock meeting because I would have been shorter than last week. Steel Bridge Road, we are moving forward, and as of yesterday, FEMA took a change in direction in our PDMG calls. They referenced in the last call that Baker County had, quote, done the congressional option, which they're correct. We have been leaning on our folks in D.C. to help Baker County out with this fiasco that's been the FEMA process this year. And as a result of that, yesterday we had what was called a PA specialist supervisor on the call for the first time, which was the boss's boss of the fellow we've been dealing with. And so we got a very different level of communication. He admitted very quickly that he had stroke that the folks we had been dealing with didn't have, and phone numbers for folks that the fellow we've been dealing with didn't have. Not to take anything away from Andrew and Bill, those 2 folks from FEMA on this last iteration have done a fantastic job of listening to the county and trying to work through. It's the FEMA process that's absolutely been messed up from DC all the way to Tallahassee or wherever the regional folks are. With that being said, yesterday they confirmed that they're just waiting for it to move Steel Bridge Road from the repair in kind at $1.798 million to mitigation. And J.B. Coxwell, we had a fantastic call with them today. J.B. Coxwell had proposed something very similar to Turner Cemetery Creek Bridge, which is replace those old culvert styles with dirt walls with concrete bulkhead type, right, box culverts or some similar option. That increase to do that, what we'll call the druthers of the choices for it was only about $300,000. So in the big scheme of things, a 1.798 repair in kind cost up to a 1.92, I think, and Chris is the only one who could probably quote me on the numbers there. I'm shooting from the hip, but it's a very small percentage of increased in FEMA reimbursement for a much longer and more resilient product on the outside, and the percentages look great. So we are very confident that once they move this project from the CRC to mitigation, we're anticipating being able to get the full amount of that project reimbursed with our best case resiliency scenario.
1.99.
Thank you, 1.99. So the next one is Shoals Park. Good news on Shoals Park. So Shoals Park was another one that we were told that we were going to be getting a determination memo, which means they were going to disallow our reimbursement for whatever reasons. We never were clearly told on that. That position is evidently reversed, and we have currently responded to an RFI. They asked us for a series of questions and we answered them. They happen to be the same answers we gave them a year and a half ago, but it was a different level of FEMA leadership looking and asking those questions. We feel very confident that we answered those in the affirmative and 100% in line with what we believe is supporting our eligibility. So it's good news that we're not looking for a determination memo, but instead we've responded now to an RFI. Almost the identical situation with Turner Cemetery as of Friday. FEMA's leadership reached out to us and sent us 3 additional RFIs. This is the project that they told us they had already drafted the determination memo saying that we were not going to have most of those costs eligible. They've now reversed and said, okay, take a look at it. And more recently, the really trick part is they allowed us to go back and delete all of the materials that they were getting sidetracked with and send them only the materials that they really should have been paying attention to in the first place. And so what it's done is drawn the focus from the distractions that they were getting lost and turned up in to focusing on the facts that are relevant now at this time with what the county's proposing as far as cost goes. So for me, I feel very confident that we're in a much better place this week than we were the last time I was in front of you. It's still FEMA, and I make no promises until we've actually cashed the checks. But I do feel very good. Thomas Allen Ferguson feels very good. Had a very long conversation with the state and FDM, and they are in agreement with us 100%. In fact, when I asked them for input on the calls on Monday, they said, no, you got it covered. We agree with you 100%. So it looks like we've got the support. Hopefully they'll just make the right decision at the FEMA level and just cut the checks. With that, I'll take any questions if you have them.
No questions, but as always, we appreciate your passion and what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. And we look forward to some really fantastic projects by the time this is over.
Yeah, thank you very much. Pending business report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Get to that page in my packet momentarily. All right, so starting at the top with the boat ramp, I don't think we've talked about that one enough. Would you like me to go over it again?
Let's go with that.
I think we've talked about that one enough. I just want to say that a lot of people in the community have asked a lot of questions about this project over the last, year, 18 months or so. I hope that they were listening to what we talked about tonight, and they got to hear it, in the meeting. If not, call us. Ask for a copy of these plans, come by and see us. We want to make sure that the public understands that this project, as slow as it has appeared to be moving, is moving, and we're really happy with that. Like I said, the construction plans were too large to put in the agenda packet, so they're not just on the website, but if anybody would like to see a copy of those, as it, give us a call, give us your email address, and we'll get them to you. So with that being said, moving on down the list, excuse me, we talked about the St. Mary Shoals Park improvements a little earlier in the day today. Again, still working with the National Park Service on that sign grant and project that hopefully we can see come to fruition very, very quickly. With that being said, I'll move on down the list. Kyler Fire Station, again, still just in a pending period until we find out for sure what we're going to do with that staffing via either a SAFER grant or county funding this year. NAB Sports Complex upgrades. That construction has been underway since June 15th. I know that a lot of you have been by there. We've commented on how great it's looking, and again, just a huge thanks to those volunteers that are helping see that come to fruition. We're really excited to have that happen. Little League is having a fall ball season this year, so I think they're trying to get all that done on the Minger Field side of the facility. But we're excited for maybe some folks to be in the area and ride by and take a look and see for themselves also a lot of that work and improvement that's going on there. Moving on down the list on the community development permit software, I did speak with Clint this afternoon, and it looks like they are finished with their install, all of that work on the server side that needed to be done. We're very close to getting back into a testing phase on our side for staff to make sure that that works appropriately, and then incorporating the credit card processing in as the very last step to the public. And talking with Clint today, once we go through this testing phase, if there's no concerns, we can go ahead and release that live, even if the credit card processing is not live on the internet. At least we can let the contractors be working with that. Again, it's not very far off from the credit card processing. Also, we're hopeful that that all comes to fruition at the same time. But again, if that is the last step and it's not, if it's a few days out, we could open it live to let, like I said, contractors be looking at it. Again, we're going to be open once this testing part is complete to having contractors come in and let us walk them through what that process looks like so that we can kind of answer some of their questions. So Commissioner Anderson has the very first appointment available whatever day that happens. So we are very close. Again, that's our hope was to go live to the public by mid-July. Obviously, we're off that schedule slightly, but with things that are progressing, it looks like we're maybe about 30 days behind, but mid-August should be where we're at on that one. So, again, we've got a lot of pressure on them to keep that one moving forward. Olustee Park ownership, that one is still in the probate process. We've not heard any updates just yet, but we know that everything has been submitted, and it's just working its way through that, the court process now. So hopefully we'll hear back from that one very soon. I did speak with a lady that lives there near the park this week, and she had some concerns about the trash was overflowing. They had a party there maybe, and so we did send crews by there yesterday to clean up that park and pick up all that trash. And then she had a few repairs that she asked to be done, and so the staff's going to look at that as well, along with the road that actually circles back behind the park there. Looked like it needed some repairs too. So we've got our public works guys on that. So if you guys get any calls from the community about some of those issues that are on our list, and we're working through them this week to try to get some of that stuff done. The courthouse roof. We had our team on board Monday of this week for a walkthrough, and conveniently enough, it was pouring rain when they came, and so they got to see firsthand exactly all of the leaks, which were actively leaking when they walked through the building. So it was really good, honestly, in my opinion, for them to see that, where it stands. They are working on some proposals for us. One of them, actually, when he walked past my office, he said, "Oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be." And I'm thinking, I don't know what you expected to come in. I think it's pretty bad, but that, I don't know if that was reassuring or not. But Remy and Shannon have been working with them closely to make sure that they get all their questions answered. We've had some questions also about the elevators and whether or not they may need some type of major upgrade. So we're working through that as well, because if that is the case, while the roof is being worked on, those elevator shafts may likely have to be also. So we want to make sure that we're tackling both of those at the same time. But again, that one's making its way through the process. We are focusing on the roof first. Obviously, that's our biggest problem, is where the old building and the new building meet at that atrium. It just leaks from the first floor to the second floor and all the way to the basement, really. And so we have suggested to the engineer and the architect, if the atrium has to go to ensure that that does not happen in the future, we're good with whatever that plan looks like. We just need a roof that doesn't leak. And so that's what they're going to work on, is some proposals to show us that. Once that is done, then we'll start focusing on the repairs inside to get that building back the way that it should be. Again, Representative Brandon was here. We have been very thankful to receive 2 phases of funding for this project. Total funds are $1.8 million. So like I said, the priority is to get the building so that where it doesn't leak, but then we're going to start focusing on those other items too once that project, part of the project is complete. And I apologize, I'm moving too quickly. I know I talk too fast sometimes. Next on the list is the generator for headquarters. Again, this has been re-advertised due to the project being overbid. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, and there is the concern that quite possibly it might still be overbid when it comes in. But again, the state's recommendation was, let's make these changes in the scope, let's re-advertise. If it does come back overbid, we'll readdress it. So we're hopeful maybe that we might be able to get it done with the amount of money that's set aside. But if not, then we'll have that kind of last opportunity to show the state that we've done those things, and there may be an opportunity for some more funding to come into play should we get to that point. And then COA Phase 2, you all approved a proposal for Mr. Tarbox to do the design on the parking lot back in the beginning of July, and he is actively working on that as well. So once he gets a little further along in the design, we'll present those plans to you all for any type of consideration or changes. Again, we've been in communication with the COA board, and Mr. Van has been, corresponding with Remy. We're making sure that they're on board with any of those plan designs and their concerns, but I think we've got everything identified, and Troy's got his orders and he's marching forward. With that being said, that is the pending business report, unless you guys have any questions on something I may not have covered.
Special projects?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last item. So we did close out the very last line on this, which is the countywide communication improvements. That final payment has been made to that vendor. That was the last portion of that project now can be considered fully closed. So for this report, I just simply referenced it as closed. You guys could see that there. And then also, I went ahead and took the liberty to add the change order, because I predicted the future that you all would approve it in the amount of $23,121 tonight, and so I went ahead and added that to the spreadsheet. You guys can see we actually have 2 line items for the library renovations, and it's from the first line item of $150,000, and that is for the material increase, and then the inside repairs as well. The $125 is the original cash match that we also will have to tap into as well. So we still have ample funding to be able to finish off that project from the grant money, and then switch our focus to the inside of the building. So the inside repair work and some upgrades that we want to do in there, and really bring that building back to its original beauty. It's got a lot of plaster work that needs there. That's what we showed as our cash match. So again, the grant is just funding the outside work and the roof repairs, but we still have more to go inside the building, and so we've got quite a bit of money to still be able to do that. So once we actually issue payment to that vendor in the amount, I'll change the way that that's colored and highlighted there, but I went ahead and notated it since I knew the change order was being presented. With that, there are no other changes to the special projects report.
East County Manager?
No, sir. I think I have talked enough today. It's 10 a.m. My voice is tired.
County Attorney?
Just a quick note, y'all may have seen in the news that Circuit Court in Leon County struck down the property tax ballot language.
Yeah.
It essentially said that it was misleading. That doesn't mean that it's done, it just means that the Attorney General has been directed to provide new language within 10 days. So once that comes out, I guess we'll see how the court cases go, but just in case y'all got any questions, I wanted to make sure that you were aware of kind of what had happened last night. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Iverson?
Very quickly, Turner Cemetery Bridge. I just want to reiterate for a couple of people that has called me this week. We have issued the notice to proceed, and,
Yes.
and I'm asking this. I'm saying this out loud so everybody can hear, and you correct me if I say anything wrong. So we've issued it to the Gulf Coast Underground, and so we're in the design phase now.
Yes.
And so they're designing the bridge, or excuse me, the box in culvert. And so there's nothing that we can do to make that happen any quicker. We 100% agree that that is super important, that is something that has been going on for a couple of years now.
Right.
And we absolutely, if there's anything that this board could do to make it happen quicker, we would absolutely be doing that. We agree with you as citizens that it's time to quit driving around the world to get to McClenny, and we want to make that quicker for you.
Commissioner Iverson, if I could add to that just quickly. I know a lot of people may be listening to our meetings and talk about these hurdles with FEMA every 2 weeks, right, that we're having. But on the county's end, the contractors, the engineers, they're not involved in that part. That's our battle to fight with FEMA. The contractors have been given their direction on a notice to proceed by this board, and that's what they have been doing. They've been designing and permitting at the direction of the board. We'll fix that FEMA in on our side. We're not telling the contractors to slow or to stall or to stop. They have been given the notice to proceed, and they are doing that.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
We received the RF. I think you just either I zoned out or you accidentally skipped over the RFP the county audit that we are waiting on.
Yes.
The RFPs. Are we still reviewing those? Have we made any decisions on those?
We have not, and I'll be honest with you, between audit and budget, people have been pretty busy. So we have not scheduled that evaluation committee, but we've got to get that scheduled because that's the first step in ranking all of those. But yes, sir, we would need to get that done and get that back before you guys. But yes, they've been accepted and they just need to be evaluated and a recommendation made.
Yeah, but just so we're clear, the committee's not making a decision, that comes
Right.
back to y'all.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to educate the community, the citizens, on where we're at, and that we are still pushing forward for an audit,
Right.
an operation audit. We're working on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
The survey for the impact fees, do we know where that's at right now?
Yes, so we met with the company virtually. We had a Teams meeting a couple weeks ago, and they gave the county staff a pretty detailed list of information that they would need for every one of those 6 potential impacts study assessments, and then the one for solid waste. So staff is actively working through those lists right now to get that back to them. So they anticipated a pretty quick turnaround on their end on most of those once they got that information, with a presentation to the board most likely in January.
Okay. All right, last thing for me, the headquarters generator. So my only question is, it says that we reduced the scope and asked for itemization,
Yes.
and we sent it back out. Who reduced the scope?
This at the state's request, we reduced the scope. Yes.
Like, did they tell us what
Yes.
scope to reduce,
Yes.
what to eliminate?
Yes.
All right, as long as the right person is reducing the scope, because what worries me, we don't want to get in a position where the wrong person is reducing the scope. You know what I'm saying? And that, just to clarify, that's not a knock on anybody here. Like, if you told me you reduced it, that wasn't. But I just want to make sure the right person is reducing the scope and not saying, well, we can downsize the generator, when in reality, we
may not
need
be
to.
able to,
We may
right.
not be able to. You
Right.
follow what I'm saying? We may
Right.
put a smaller generator that's going to work fine for now, but it won't work good down the road. So As long as so the state told us what to reduce it to.
Yes, well, it was I will say it's a team effort between Chief Blanton, Remy, myself, and the state contract manager. Yes, have reviewed all of that information. We also had to get load studies from FPL as part of this process. So yes, sir, we did verify that what the generator kilowatts and things like that, they weren't reduced to a point that would not be sufficient to the building. Yes, sir.
That's it, Chairman.
Commissioner Anderson,
I don't have anything.
we're almost done. Commissioner Hartley?
I have nothing.
Did we already congratulate Commissioner Mobley publicly?
What's that?
Did we already congratulate Commissioner Mobley? I don't know if that happened.
We did
No.
earlier today. Yes,
We did. Commissioner Mobley and Laney have a new child, and congratulations to them. I have a couple of things.
I don't do anything to get out of it.
Get out of an all-day meeting.
Keep playing that one ahead. That's a good one.
I think it was his request. We started at 10 a.m. today. Just easy.
The intersection in Sanderson that has a caution light needs desperately a red light. I don't want to be sitting here at a meeting when a pedestrian or a major accident alters somebody's life. It's dangerous. I don't know what we can do to encourage the state to do it, but it's dangerous. You got pedestrians walking across the street there all the time. You got traffic coming through at 55 miles an hour. You got people pulling out in front of those. It's a dangerous intersection. And whatever we need to do with the state, we need to do to get it moving.
Mr. Chair, you may want to draft a letter to the regional director. Sometimes that helps.
Yeah. We, Commissioner Mann and I, I'm sorry if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
we actually did have some conversations with DOT about reducing the speed limit through there. They did a traffic study, and the information that we received back was, no, it doesn't qualify for a reduction in speed, which is hard to believe in my opinion. And then my follow-up question was, okay, well, how do we need to change that caution light, flashing light, to a red light? And they sent back this whole technical list of questions and answers about what qualifies for that, and the information that I received was that it was not qualified for some type of traffic light at that intersection. So I agree with Mr. Commando. At this point, it may just take some effort from the board and some leadership in DOT to urge it. If it doesn't meet just the normal parameters, we may have to go outside of that and ask for some favors, so to speak.
As traffic increases, it's more and more dangerous, and there's more pedestrian traffic in that intersection than I've seen in my lifetime. I've lived there all my life. And so I'd like to see whatever we need to do, draft a letter, whatever we need to do to see if we can encourage a change. I'd like the speed limit reduced from 45 because now people are running 55 and 60 through Sanderson. And you can get run over right there. I don't even go through that intersection. I go around by Billy Williams' old store, if you know where that is, because I avoid that intersection. Recently, I've been involved in a debate over the county putting name signs on private roads, and we either need to strictly follow the policy or stop the practice, because the county don't need to be involved in neighborhood debates over what a private road is named. We need to get out of that business. We've done some silly stuff in this particular argument. We put up a sign, we took down a sign, we put up another sign, we're moving that sign. It's just, it's silliness. We need to get out of that involvement with those neighborhood arguments. We don't need to be in them. That's all I can say about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, I talked in a long conversation with St. Johns River Water Management yesterday about the Water First North Florida project. They say that project is dead, but they can't do away with the name because the state has attached that name to any research or development that they want to do. But they assured me that all of their future plans, that material would be contained within the St. Johns River Water Management District. Unfortunately, Baker County is part of that district. So we're still in the crosshairs of that somewhat. And we need to be conscious that this could be a life-changing thing for Baker County or any area where they put 10 million gallons of treated water a day. So I just had that conversation. I feel better about it, that it's not going forward the way it was started, but we still have concerns. So.
I don't think it's anywhere near us. So I watched the last Water Management District meeting, and my understanding is it's far south of us to where the recharge would be. If that changes, I'll let you, if that I hear of, I'll let you
The
know.
only thing they made clear is it would not be in Duval County.
Correct. Well, they're trying to get it out of Duval County. I mean, so I've learned a lot since our original resolution. It was a request of the Suwanee Water Management District because they were having recharge issues. So it was an effort to try to help them. And when that obviously was not the will of the public, then they're looking at an area south of us.
I think that's it for me. Let me check my notes. Oh, I do want speed bumps in on Gaskin Circle, not Margaret. On Gaskin Circle in Sanderson, one on each side of the circle. I've talked to many people in that neighborhood, and that's the first request from almost everybody there.
Yes, he talked to me too.
Yeah. Everybody that talks to them about it, they'll tell you they need speed bumps in there. And sadly, it's not the residents that have the problem. It's the traffic just passing through the neighborhood. So I've talked with Chris about that, and we are looking at ways to address that. But that's my concerns for today.
Mr. Chairman, on the speed bump, so Chris and I have been working with our traffic engineer on a policy on what would warrant a speed bump in a neighborhood. Because obviously there are concerns from a safety aspect that they are not to be used in certain situations. They could cause traffic accidents instead of prevent them. And so we have been working, we actually have a draft policy that we've just wrapped up that would stipulate, it's the miles per hour, driveways and their locations, elevation of the road, which we don't have any roads that have much elevation in Baker County. But there's a lot that goes into it. And I think we've gotten it into a format that the public would understand as well. It's not so overly complicated that you have to be an engineer to read it and know what it would be. But we'll have that presented to you all. Mr. Commissioner Chairman Mann, if you're not going to be here at our next meeting, I'd like to wait on that just until you're here because I know you're getting a lot of feedback on that particular item. So if it's okay with the board, we have that policy to present to you all, and it'll be the first meeting in September that you guys will hear that. And that will help some of these locations that may be called where we know that that's not going to be an ideal location. Like we've gotten them in locations where it's a major thoroughfare, high-speed traffic areas where we know that those would not be installed at. And that would help the public understand under what criteria we can safely use a speed bump. So again, that's coming up on the schedule for you guys to look at as well.
I had some of the same comments, but I was kind of waiting. I know that y'all was going through the process and
Yes.
really before I had a lot of discussion on whys and the why not.
Right.
We need to have something that we can show on paper and just not what we're just talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's kind of what I'm waiting on. I met with a couple of them. The thing is, you'll meet with these three people. We got to have speed bumps. 3 houses down, I don't want no speed bump.
Yes.
Yep.
In the same neighborhood. So there's got to be a system.
Yes, sir.
Where you can or you can't.
Yes, sir.
And that's kind of what I'm waiting on before.
Yes, sir. I think that policy would be very beneficial to you all in making those decisions.
Because
Absolutely.
Yes,
for
sir.
everyone that wants one, there's another one that don't.
Absolutely.
So it's a two-way street.
Yes.
But when it comes to the health and the safety of the people, that's when we should step in.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I did think of one more item just very quickly for anyone who may be listening. As a reminder, our next county commission meeting is August 17th. That's off cycle. That's a day earlier than usual because our regular meeting on the 18th is election day. And so we've got two that will be busy that day and one also that serves on our canvassing board. So we did move that to the day before. August 17th was the next time we'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, absolutely.